Tonight, nature's power unleashed. A local high school closed after lightning damaged the building. Plus, a new high-rise on Richmond Row.
It's bringing in a lot of density and intensification into the downtown.
Details on the student-oriented housing project. And new life for London's worn and torn.
Every sock, t-shirt, towel, and sheet that gets donated is going to help power climate action.
The city project keeping old textiles out of landfills.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A London high school was closed today because it was hit by lightning during last night's storm, and authorities are concerned about the building's structural integrity. As Sean Irvin reports, the storm struck in the middle of a graduation ceremony.
A chimney atop South Collegiate Institute bears the scars of a lightning strike. A large crack and crumbling masonry are among the visible damages. The bolt struck the iconic Old South landmark during an intense storm Thursday evening. The strike was caught in this viewer video. Slowing it down, the intensity of the bolt is even more awe-inspiring, but also frightening.
I've never heard something so loud in my life.
Lenore Chesworth lives just down the street from the school.
I knew something got hit because it sounded like almost like something was cutting through steel. It was so loud.
It was even louder for those inside. As it turned out, the high school was about to host an elementary school graduation. It was called off as firefighters arrived. Thankfully, no one was injured. Now, as the graduation was quickly moved to Saunders Secondary School, firefighters inspected the building for damage. What they found surprised them.
A roof inspection saw that a large section of that chimney had fallen through the top of the building, landing on the third floor.
The discovery solidified the need to cancel exams for the day. Work crews arrived to inspect the chimney and the rest of the building on Wednesday morning. While time will repair the scars, the memory of this rare strike of Mother Nature will live on.
Quite a coincidence, but I didn't realize that it actually looks like fire when it hits, which is pretty amazing.
It'll be quite a memory for the graduates to share with their family and friends.
And as more than one passerby mentioned, it will be a story that has ties to a blockbuster film, which also prominently featured a lightning strike on a classic building.
I mean, it's kind of like out of a movie. I don't know. It's just, I think a lot of people were saying it was something like Back to the Future.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Lambton OPP say a section of the 402 closed because of heat damage reopened this morning. This is what the roadway looked like Sunday. Traffic had been detoured at Oil Heritage Road while crews repaired the damage. Earlier this week, Transportation Ministry officials said these repairs would be temporary with a permanent solution implemented in the fall.
Good evening. Not quite as hot this evening, but still definitely humid. The air has a very muggy feel to it. We've been dealing with cloud cover through the day today after the passage of a weak front, but the humidex feeling anywhere between the mid to upper 30s in and around London. Cooler towards Lake Huron. We've had a northerly flow off the lake today, and that's kept things cool along the lake shore. Still showers out there this evening. We've had a few spotty showers in and around the region and a few thunderstorms towards Windsor and Essex County. A stationary boundary has set up shop just south of us. That'll play a big role in our forecast as we move toward the weekend. So still the chance for showers, although the probability on the lower end. The winds will be light and 22 degrees by midnight. So still quite warm through the overnight. Muggy conditions hold. I'll take you through the forecast. We'll talk about Canada Day and this stationary front. It'll be playing games with us through the weekend. I'll have that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Julie. A car carrier flipped into a ditch near Woodstock this morning. The transport was pulling a trailer loaded with vehicles when it rolled off the 403 just east of the 401. Police say traffic was flowing slowly because of the necessary lane closures. They say the transport driver has minor injuries and all lanes were reopened by 3 p.m. Provincial police say they're investigating a drowning at the Elora Quarry, a popular summer swimming spot. Heather Centerin has more on the warning from water safety advocates.
The Elora quarry is closed for the day after a tragic incident. OPP say first responders got a call about a man in distress at the quarry around 6:30 Tuesday night.
They were able to pull a 24-year-old male from Mississauga out of the water. He was subsequently transported to the hospital, and I'm sad to say he was pronounced deceased by the attending physicians.
Police admit it's news no one wants to hear.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank all the Good Samaritans and all of the emergency services that attended there. And I just wanted to say how deeply sorry we are to this man's family, and that they are in our thoughts and they have our sincerest and deepest condolences.
Those who live nearby say they could see the commotion but didn't know what happened.
I went by yesterday driving, and the fire rescue truck was out there with the lights going, and you sit there and say, wow, something's wrong.
So most drownings in Ontario do happen in natural bodies of water.
The Life Saving Society of Ontario says natural bodies of water are unpredictable, which means they can be dangerous.
Water levels can change. There can be things like rocks, drop-offs, sandbanks, all kinds of things that you might not notice at first that you can't see from the shore.
The Grand River Conservation Authority did not comment on the incident specifically, besides saying reservations would be refunded since the quarry is closed, but did say visitors must make sure safety is their top priority and their beaches are not patrolled.
If you do choose to swim somewhere where there are not lifeguards, take some safety precautions, wear a life jacket, make sure you're not swimming alone. You always want to be with others.
The GRCA also reminding the public that river flows can change quickly and without warning. Heather Sannerin, CTV News.
The Prime Minister is on his way back to Canada after committing to a major boost in NATO contributions. Mark Carney has agreed to nearly double defense spending to 5% of GDP, putting this country in line with the 31 other NATO members. As Jeremy Sherrill reports, it was welcome news for President Donald Trump.
A highly anticipated historic sit-down for the NATO alliance started today with a clear message from Secretary General Mark Rutte.
For too long, one ally, the United States, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
That has been Donald Trump's pitch as he drove the charge to increase the alliance's defense spending pledge.
NATO is going to become very strong with us.
Alliance members making official today what was expected, a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP to be reached by 2035.
This is a significant commitment in response to significant threats to our security.
The fact that we are doing this today, the fact that we're united, the fact that the United States is fully behind this, the fact that we're working together is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now.
3.5% will have to go to core defense spending, with a requirement to spend another 1.5% on defense-related infrastructure investments. Carney says meeting the 5% commitment would mean earmarking $150 billion a year for defense.
So yes, we'll find gaps. We'll be transparent about that. We'll make up those gaps. So the overall context of the net increase in defense spending is much less than the headline from 2 to 5.
But key to today's new pledge from the alliance, a plan to review progress in 2029, ensuring it still meets the needs of the global security landscape.
Senior government officials tell us they see an opportunity then to address whether the breakdown of 3.5 and 1.5 could be balanced differently, a change they believe could be better for Canada. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, The Hague.
Meanwhile, President Trump reiterated his confidence today when asked why he believes the conflict between Israel and Iran is over.
I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes.
The president claims Iran's nuclear program has been set back decades, but early assessment reports from the Pentagon dispute that, saying the strikes only set the program back a few months tops. Israeli leaders are backing the White House, though, saying Iran's nuclear program has been set back years. U.S. authorities say an investigation is underway looking into who leaked the U.S. intelligence report. City councilors have given a green light for a new residential tower on Richmond Row.
They actually have a lot of experience dealing with incredibly tight spaces and small footprints.
A 35-story mixed-use structure is slated for the corner of Richmond and Oxford, built by a Toronto developer. The project includes about 500 student-geared apartments, and demolition of the current lot is expected to begin later this year.
It's bringing in a lot of density and intensification into the downtown, so that's one thing that we're always trying to do. Also, it is right at the main north entrance of downtown, which is very significant.
The provincial ombudsman is raising concerns about Ontario's correctional facilities. A new report released today details a substantial number of complaints. With more on those, here's Siobhan Morris.
Ontario's ombudsman describes a correctional system in need of overhaul, and fast.
The cauldron starts heating up and the pressures build.
It's a system where he says conditions have been worsening, with complaints up 55% from last year. Staff is working short-handed. Solitary confinement and lockdowns are common. And inmates are overcrowded, with some facilities at 150% capacity.
We're finding people housed in broom closets and former pantries and stuff. So the system has deteriorated. It's in crisis.
The government has promised to expand existing jails and build new ones.
They can build more jails, but if you can't get a case through trial, you'll be building jails upon jails, and those are still people who are legally presumed innocent.
That's most of the people in lockup, people who haven't been convicted of anything, even for those who have been found guilty. The ombudsman says the system is falling short of its goal of rehabilitation.
It's in our interest for those people not to come out more broken than when they went in.
This criminal defense lawyer thinks a lack of political will may be the problem.
It may be that there's a perception that the public doesn't like the idea that money is being spent on people who are in custody.
But sometimes inhumane conditions inside are having an effect on the justice Ontario can deliver outside.
We have sentences being reduced or charges being stayed because of the breaches of fundamental rights within those correctional facilities. That's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a scenario that played out at Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton in December 2023. After an assault on a guard, inmates were stripped to their boxers, forced to face the wall, their wrists zip-tied. The ordeal lasted 2 days.
If anyone's done anything wrong, there's a process. They'll be held accountable.
The sentences of some of those inmates have been reduced because of what they endured. The ombudsman has launched a separate investigation into what happened at Maplehurst.
We hope that it's been an eye-opener, but we'll have to see whether or not it's going to have the kind of systemic impacts that we would like to see happen here.
We asked the Solicitor General's office several times today for a response to the ombudsman's report and his calls for urgent change. We didn't receive a response. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The owners of a popular Stratford restaurant have been reunited with their stolen food truck. Karis Mapp has more on the recovery operation.
Back where it belongs. Staff at Annie's Seafood Restaurant in Stratford are recovering from having their food truck stolen.
Friday night, truck was all loaded up, got all the food ready for the weekend, plugged in to keep all the freezers cold and so forth. Saturday morning, we came in 9 a.m., pulled into the parking lot, and I said to my husband, where's our food truck?
A loss for Annie's and also for Stratford Live, where they were supposed to be a vendor. Being the only gluten-free certified food truck in Canada, the festival's organizers say they felt Annie's absence. In a statement sent to CTV News, Stratford Live's committee say they were genuinely excited for what the restaurant would bring and are hoping for a swift recovery. But not long after, someone noticed the familiar logo just outside of town.
The really miraculous thing that happened was the phone rang, and someone said, "Are you missing your food truck?" And I'm like, "Yes, do you have it?"
All caught on camera, suspects can be seen driving a pickup truck onto the property and leaving with Annie's truck.
The door lock itself was smashed off the vehicle. The actual steering column busted apart. You know, that's how thus we're able to hotwire it and get it running.
$1,000 worth of food that was left out to rot. There was supplies taken, probably $500 worth of poutine boxes and napkins and all of that kind of stuff.
The hunt for the thieves coming to a close quickly. Stratford police say they were called to this lot on Griffith Road Sunday morning about a theft in progress, with the truck description matching the same as the suspects in the Annie's investigation. Police say when they arrived, there was a struggle.
Police were able to utilize their cruisers to block the pickup truck, which was now carrying a stolen trailer. That driver of the pickup truck drove into the police cars. He was eventually able to be arrested after assaulting one of the officers.
As for Annie's, they're looking ahead to this weekend's festivities and grateful to have their truck in tow.
We're doing an original kitchen party, live music. So we've got a big tent outside that we have for our patio, so our patio's covered. That'll be there.
The community also doing what they can to give back.
They do a lot for the community, and we're just trying to do our part to get them up and running for the weekend here.
Kara Smapp, CTV News, Stratford.
Local veterinarians are stepping up, offering their expertise to help reduce the spread of parvovirus in London community housing. Rita Ismail has more on the vaccination campaign they're planning.
1-year-old Nova is in quarantine after having contracted parvovirus last week.
Your worst nightmare just happened in front of you. I thought she was going to die right then and there. We got her to the emergency vet.
Ashley Rosignol, a resident of 349 Warncliffe Road North, says the last week has been traumatizing after her dog Nova contracted the dangerous virus that is now circulating at 2 community housing buildings.
Over $1,700 out of pocket just on vet visits, medications, IV fluids, like the sub-fluids, and that's not on top of the gloves and the booties and everything else in between to make sure that we aren't spreading it any further.
And stopping the spread is now top of mind for Santa Adelaide Animal Hospital owner and veterinarian Dr. Trina Hancock, who has stepped up, offering feet on the ground to help minimize the spread.
So a concentrated sort of community housing situation like that with a lot of unvaccinated dogs is just ripe for this to just spread like wildfire, not only to the dogs in that community, but also elsewhere in London, because the virus is so persistent in the environment.
Dr. Hancock is working alongside Progressive Animal Welfare Services and East Village Animal Services to coordinate an on-site mobile clinic next week.
Test their dog for parvo, so we'll get a positive or a negative result. If they're negative, they will get vaccinated by our team on site there. If they're positive, hopefully we can do some treatment on site as well.
Residents living in the 2 community housing buildings will need to sign up on June 30th and pay a minimal fee to secure a spot. Parvovirus is a highly infectious disease that spreads easily from dog to dog. The vaccine is extremely effective and highly recommended.
It's an excellent vaccine, but in unvaccinated dogs, and regardless of the age of the dog, if they're unvaccinated, it will cause very severe diarrhea and vomiting.
The various organizations are working together with the London Middlesex Housing Corporation to organize the on-site visit. However, the cost is falling on the veterinary groups to ensure accessibility. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
A new partnership at City Hall is trying to keep textiles out of local landfills. Brian Bicknell has more on the materials staff are looking for and what they'll do with them.
We want items that are ripped, worn right through. These are items that people normally just place in the garbage because they don't think there is any life to them. But this is something we want to collect.
Jay Stanford, the city's Director of Environment and Waste, wants your worn or torn. The city has teamed up with Fanshawe College and Goodwill Industries to launch the Worn or Torn donation drive. It's a pilot in Byron to collect used textiles to be recycled, repurposed, and resold.
Every sock, t-shirt, towel, and sheet that gets donated is going to help power climate action. By giving textiles a second life, we're transforming waste into opportunity. Fashion is designed and produced to be worn less than 10 times before it's discarded.
because of its poor quality or because it's quickly out of style.
The main goal is to keep textiles out of the garbage, extending the life of the city landfill.
When we look citywide, our best estimates suggest that between 3,000 and 6,000 tons of unwanted textiles end up in the garbage bag or down the chute in a multi-residential building. That represents about 15 to 30 kilograms per family.
The pilot runs for about 3 weeks from July 2nd to the 20th. Byron households are asked to bring their worn and torn here to the Goodwill drop-off at the Environmental Depot on Oxford Street West. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Tech support for seniors in Goderich today, an opportunity to ease the number of computer questions typically passed on to younger loved ones. Scott Miller has more on the turnout and the impact.
All right, is everyone on a screen that looks like this?
Shirley Lamb is the first to admit she has fallen behind on the technology highway.
I have a computer that was given to me 2 years ago, and I don't even know how to turn it on.
Lamb and many other seniors in need of tech help have come to today's Seniors Technology Summer Camp at the Goderich Legion to get all their tech questions answered, and they've got plenty of questions.
I want to learn how to use the iPhone, iPad, more direction. I need to be updated a little bit, I think, and making sure that I'm not getting scammed, and because I have been.
Scams were just one of the many things that were brought forward at the Tech Help Day put on by the Gateway Center of Excellence in Rural Health, which is a rural healthcare research institute based in Huron County.
So tech is super overwhelming, and it's constantly changing, and it can be a pretty overwhelming thing for seniors to try and keep up and try and keep with all the new technology that's coming up. So we're trying to bridge that gap and kind of create a one-on-one tech help where someone can just sit with them and walk them through it. Sometimes it's not even that difficult. They just need a little bit of support.
Not knowing how to check your email can not only be frustrating, it can affect seniors' mental health, say Gateway researchers.
And we're definitely seeing that loneliness in seniors in the community, especially in the rural area where we've got farmers and people who may not be living in town and who may be especially isolated in society.
For the many seniors taking advantage of the Tech Help today, it's a much-needed boost to their confidence when it comes to living in a digital world.
It'll be really helpful. Absolutely. Look at how many people are here. It's amazing. I want to feel that I'm in the real world now because everybody's using it, so.
I'm really impressed with the number of people that have come, so obviously I'm not the only one that's lost when it comes to devices.
While today's Seniors Technology Camp is sort of the kickoff to summer, there's actually tech help happening every Wednesday morning here at the Goderich Legion through the Gateway Center, because the internet never ends. In Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, it's the Tee Up with Brent Lail. Details on a pair of national track and field events coming to the Forest City.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
CTV London has your chance to unleash your inner Tarzan. Enter now at CTVLondon.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of passes to Bowler Mountain Treetop Adventure Park.
It's time for the Tee Up with Brent Lail, and it's a busy week in sports. Just this afternoon, the City of London announced some big news, Brent.
Yeah, the country's best track and field athletes will be coming to London for the 2027 and 2028 Bell Track and Field Trials. After a successful bid by Tourism London in partnership with Western University, the City London Western Track and Field Athletics Canada will bring its feature event. Fans could see local stars like Alicia Newman or Damian Warner, as well as the rest of Canada's Olympians on the track. The 2027 trials will serve as The tee-up for the World Championships 2028 will determine who goes to the LA Olympic and Paralympic Games.
It was the final day of high school exams, and one local athlete is graduating with a lot of hardware.
Yeah, Emmett Charles of Banting, who is off to play Western football in the fall, accomplished something that's never been duplicated. The graduating student, look at that handful of hardware, won the Anderson Award as Mr. Football, as well as the city's top athlete in track and field and basketball. Throw in the Spectra Award, which goes to the top athlete with outstanding marks and in community involvement. And Charles, he's headed to play wide receiver for Greg Marshall's Western Mustangs in the fall. He hopes to run track as well.
I'm very happy with all my accomplishments, but I mean, it wouldn't be possible without all my coaches helping me out. You know, I've had great coaches throughout my high school. They teach me, you know, how to be a good player, but also how to just be a good person. When I was younger, I started soccer, basketball, kind of football and track are both like newer high school things, but I mean, I started doing them and I kind of just fell in love. So, I mean, there's a possibility I might be running track as well in university. I'm definitely looking forward to next year to see what I can do and, you know, move on to the next stage.
And the PWHL draft was last night with some headline moves in the very first round.
Yeah, Ellis Shelton of Foldens near Ingersoll, one of the best defensemen in the world, was traded from New York to Toronto. Moments later, a Londoner was selected 4th overall.
The Victoire de Montréal select defender Nicole Gosling.
The 22-year-old Londoner is the all-time leading scorer as a defenseman at Clarkson University. In 176 career NCAA games, she had 44 goals and added 104 assists. The former London Devilette was the first Canadian picked in the draft.
The NHL draft is in Los Angeles this year, and the New York Islanders hold the first pick Friday night.
Yeah, London Knights' Henry Brustevich and Alexei Medvedev will no doubt be chosen, and the top local prospect, Cameron Reed, from just south of Aylmer, is projected in mock drafts to go somewhere between the middle and end of round 1.
Just hopefully go Friday night. That's the big goal. But yes, if not, you go Saturday. And I mean, at the end of the day, once you're drafted, you're drafted. You just got to do better in the future.
Reed and his family left for Los Angeles this morning and will have a couple of days to relax ahead of the first round. The Kitchener Rangers defenseman had a big season with 54 points in 67 games, and it was his team success that put even more eyes on him.
It was good for me. It was good for our team. I mean, we started off as the youngest team in the league, and weren't really expected to do much, but we did a lot. And even though we didn't, win it all, that's the end goal. Even though we didn't do that, it was still a great year overall. A lot of pressure, but a lot of fun.
And yesterday we learned St. Thomas native Joe Thornton is going into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
And anyone that knows Joe's personality or his game would not be surprised by his goofy reaction when he found out the news. It's gone viral.
We're really excited to welcome you into the Hockey Hall of Fame. You were voted
Ronnie, holy doodle, holy doodle, holy doodle, boys. Oh my God, I'm shaking. Thanks, boys. Holy moly.
I don't think anybody besides Joe Thornton would use the term holy doodle. The NHL legend, who's been one of the best players and personalities in the game, will go into the Hall at a ceremony in November.
And finally, Brent, NFL training camps just around the corner, and a local football prospect will be looking for a roster spot in Green Bay.
And before that happens, family and friends of Taylor Elgersma wanted to host a get-together to celebrate everything he's accomplished. A surprise party full of some of his closest and longtime friends, as well as distant relatives, was held to give people a chance to catch up with the busy quarterback. He's been all over North America since winning the Yates Cup at Laurier this past year.
I think it's just super cool to be able to be around family and friends, and getting ready to, get into camp right now. And so the hard work's just beginning. So nice to come back to the hometown for this weekend and seeing people from, high school and back here in London, and my friends and my family being around, being able to celebrate the journey to this point. And like you said, a lot of hard work to continue to go.
Julie Hutchison is on the desk with me now, and today, certainly, as you walked outside, you could certainly feel the air still. The humidity hasn't gone anywhere, but it is not quite as brutally hot as it was.
Yeah, the extreme heat ending, the front that slipped through breaking that. But we'll be dealing with the humidity over the next 7 days. There's no big break from that. But I wanted to show you the Grand Bend Beach Cam tonight because this looks quite different than it did this time last night. So there's not many folks out on the beach this evening as we head through the later part of the evening. Temperatures on the cool side. But it was cool in Grand Bend through the day. The reason, we had a light northerly flow coming off Lake Huron, and that kept things on the chillier side. Now in London, hitting the upper 20s, 28 degrees, normally 25, so still well above normal, but a far cry from the 33 to 34. Satellite radar showing a few showers in and around the area. Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent picking up some rain and thunderstorms. This is the front that moved through, and this will be a big player in our weekend forecast, and not in a good way. So this front is slumping southward, and we're seeing little waves of low pressure along the frontal boundary. We got a lot of rain right now coming in through Minnesota and Wisconsin. We do have some instability with a few spotty showers in Michigan. Now this front is going to wave its way northward and southward all weekend long. When a stationary front sets up like this, not ideal for a long weekend forecast. And as it starts to come in as a warm front, we see the increasing humidity. Looking across Canada tonight, temperatures were on the cool side this morning in Western Canada and then across the prairies. Big weather story out east is the heat that's moved in. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia breaking some records yesterday. And once again today, daytime highs coming in close to 29, 30 degrees. It's hot in Eastern Canada, and they're not used to the intense heat just like we are, or rather in comparison to Southern Ontario. Still warm out there, just the intensity winding down briefly. In terms of our overnight lows, 20 degrees in London, 18 to 19 across Huron and Perth County along the lake shore of Huron, 18, and near 20 degrees near Port. Your Thursday forecast, now look at the difference in daytime highs. Wyerton, 19 degrees. Mount Forest, 20. London, 26. 28 in Sarnia. So that's how close the areas further south are to the front. Further north you go, you have the cooler temperatures that have arrived, so you're feeling things to be a bit more fresh. So definitely some varied conditions out there across the region. So as we take a look at the forecast heading into tomorrow, conditions still unsettled, mainly cloudy with a chance of showers. It'll be 25 degrees at lunchtime, 26 with the risk of thunderstorms and winds out of the east. The next 24-hour model really showing the instability in the forecast, so we will have rounds of rain coming in. Not all the time, but you'll be dodging showers as you head into the holiday weekend. So in and out of rainfall, in and out of showers, possibility of thunderstorms. This is Friday morning in Midwestern Ontario with some big storms making the move through. As we take you out 7 days, 26 degrees as we head into Thursday, feeling like the mid-30s. Showers in the forecast on Friday, showers in the forecast on Saturday. Mainly sunny conditions on Sunday, mainly cloudy on Monday. And then as we head into Canada Day, 27 degrees, mainly sunny on Wednesday. You can see the overnight lows anywhere from 16 to 20. Not all day rain, not continuous showers, but on and off. So you can see those probabilities, 30 to a 40% chance. So that doesn't look like very high. However, when you have a weather system that's this unstable, there is the potential for on and off rainfall. So on the cool side in Midwestern Ontario tomorrow, areas further north about 18, 19 degrees, 27 on Friday with showers, mainly cloudy on Saturday, lots of sunshine on Sunday, and for the holiday Canada Day, the high at 26. So as we focus on our Metal Roof Outlet forecast for the holiday weekend, the best day looks to be a Sunday right across the region with a few spotty showers on Canada Day. Hopefully we'll get through the fireworks dry. Carlyle, back to you.
Julie, thanks very much. Later on CTV News, the insect invasion taking over parts of southwestern Ontario.
On the latest episode of In Conversation with Rita Ismail, the Honourable Ed Holder joins me to chat about his time as London's 64th mayor and his life after retirement.
In Conversation with Rita Ismail, available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's 6 months to Christmas.
Oh, stop it, Santa. What are you doing?
Santa's bringing more gifts tomorrow morning.
Your chance to win your way in to see Brett Kissel this September in Pricetown at 7:10.
Canada's economy is expected to take a hit this year from the trade war, but economists predict a worst-case scenario will be avoided. Officials with Deloitte Canada predict a modest recession during the second and third quarters, primarily because of economic uncertainty caused by tariffs. The report also says Canada's economy has the potential to rebound as businesses get more clarity on trade issues and adjust to new policies. The report suggests energy-producing provinces will lead the way, with growth expected in Alberta. Shipping company DHL Express Canada has announced a tentative agreement with union leaders, seemingly bringing a 2-week work stoppage to an end. Unifor represents more than 2,100 across the country, which includes staff here in London. Terms of the tentative deal have not been released. Union leaders say a ratification meeting will take place soon, though. Wages and working conditions were negotiation sticking points, along with automation in the workplace concerns. A warning from appliance experts to be aware of fire hazards. Dryer fires are more common when lint builds up, but as Pat Foran reports, washing machines can ignite too and be just as dangerous.
We could have all died.
Chandra Lake of Brampton says it was last fall when her 3-year-old washing machine caught on fire. Her daughter had been doing laundry and was about to leave the house to buy groceries when she noticed smoke coming from the basement. The family called 911 and firefighters were able to extinguish the blaze.
They determined that the drum might have seized and the motor was running and the friction might have caused the fire.
For Lake's family, it was a traumatic experience.
Just doing a load of laundry could have killed everyone in the house.
Before the load was finished, it essentially burst into flames.
Dominic Tetro of Cambridge says his 4-year-old washing machine caught on fire in April. Luckily, his family had 2 fire extinguishers and were able to put out the blaze. He says it's a lesson to never leave your washer or dryer operating unattended.
We're never going to leave laundry alone again.
It is uncommon, although washing machines can catch on fire. That could happen.
According to Ontario's Fire Marshal's office, between the years of 2019 to 2023, there have been 22 washing machine fires and 648 dryer fires in the province. To avoid fires in the laundry room, check the washer and dryer cords for damage. Outlets should have ground fault circuit interrupters. Inspect and clean the lint screen after each load. Check the outdoor vent to ensure it's unobstructed, and always turn the washer and dryer off if you leave home or go to bed.
We want to make sure that we're installing our smoke alarms, testing them monthly with our families, and practicing a home fire escape plan with our families as well.
Both washing machines were LG models, but there's no indication the fires were connected, and LG is investigating. Both families still want answers, but after contacting CTV News, LG gave Tetro and Lake new washing machines.
Thank you, CTV. We appreciate the help.
I am so glad I got in touch with CTV News. I cannot thank you enough for investigating this issue for us.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down by broad-based losses today. The TSX fell more than 150 points. Mixed results on Wall Street, where the Dow dropped 106, the Nasdaq gained 61. Canadian dollar shed a little more than 1/10 cent. On commodity markets, gold was up nearly $10 an ounce. Oil climbed 55 cents a barrel. Still to come, a new skyscraper in Toronto officially deemed the country's first super tall building. Welcome back. Thousands of wildfire evacuees from Flin Flon, Manitoba can start returning home nearly a month after they were forced to flee. Nearly 5,000 residents have been waiting for that green light to go home. Authorities say an out-of-control wildfire is still burning, but it's being contained enough outside the community. They also say disaster and recovery assistance, as well as food bank supports, will be available for anyone returning. The local mayor says no homes or businesses were lost. A new high-rise in Toronto has broken the Canadian record for tallest residential building. It's a project more than a decade in the making. And as Beth McDonnell reports, the finishing touches will still take some time.
It's so tall. It's super tall. One Bloor West has just secured its status as Canada's first super tall building. And it's the second tallest man-made structure in the country, next to the CN Tower. Here we go on the ascent, up one elevator, then another, then up another 6 flights of stairs to the big reveal. It's one of the highest places people will live on the land, a vista workers take in on the regular.
This is our corner office. This is what we do every day, and this is it's the best job in the world, I think.
300 meters or 85 stories is a serious climb. The view, absolutely impressive. Looking down is wow and yikes. One Bloor West has been rising for about 12 years. The celebration, reaching its super tall status, comes after a lot of work, from design to construction to setbacks. In 2023, the building went into receivership. Tridel officially took over the project in May.
It feels amazing. It really does, on so many levels. And it's kind of a pun dealing with the height of this building, but it's fun to have some participation in a super tall building, which up until today didn't exist in Canada.
The building set to have 470 residential units, a 5-star hotel, and retail space is expected to be completed in 2028. While much of the exterior is done, machinery and the inside are still big jobs ahead. For those involved since the beginning of the tower, the milestone is meaningful.
Very gratifying. It's an unbelievable feeling. You sometimes forget about it because you have so many other things to do, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, we did that. It's quite a good feeling.
A time capsule of memorable moments from the building's history was also created for the special occasion. But the skyscraper may not keep its super tall status for too long. A 106-story tower is already being planned to go up at the foot of Yonge Street. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Tomorrow on CTV News, London police expected to announce charges related to a fatal crash on Longwoods Road last December that killed a 6-year-old boy after he was getting off a school bus. Tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Thank you to Becca Baker for capturing this photo in Mount Bridges. A shelf cloud or an Arcus cloud, they form on the leading edge of a thunderstorm or along the boundary of a cold front. We had some active weather in the region yesterday as the storms moved through parts of the area. Through the overnight, mainly cloudy, just a slight risk for showers, and unsettled in the extended forecast with a chance of rain on and off. Feeling the heat this weekend and the humidity, it'll feel like the mid-30s.
It's fish fly season in parts of southwestern Ontario. The annual swarms can take over waterfronts, a nuisance for locals and tourists trying to enjoy the early days of summer. But as Chris Campbell reports, those bugs serve an important ecological purpose.
They arrive without warning and leave just as suddenly. But when they're here, you'll know it.
We get thousands of them.
You just use the mail and swat around you as you're walking.
The fish fly, or mayfly, is a sign of a healthy Lake Erie, but it also brings headaches to towns along the shoreline.
If it's good for the environment, I'm happy to see them, but they are kind of a pain in the neck.
The good thing is they're only here for a couple of weeks.
They're feeding the environment needs it, but what a mess.
In places like Kingsville and Leamington, the invasion has become part of summer life.
The town's been fabulous cleaning it up. We haven't had any accidents. Some years it makes such a grease lick that the cars go to stop and they go right into the fence down here at Seacliff Park. But for the most part, it's been okay.
I don't know why they use my car as a target, but they do.
With short lifespans and no mouths, fish flies don't do harm, but they do disrupt daily life. Some businesses even adjust hours or cleaning routines during the height of the hatch.
This year seems to really, there's a lot of them.
I don't like it. They smell, and there's no sense in trying to clean it off until they're all done coming here.
The good news, the season usually only lasts a couple of weeks.
When mayflies are thriving and hatching, that's telling you that you have a lot of oxygen in the water, and it basically suggests that things are getting pretty good.
The bad news, we're right in the thick of it.
The one big thing is they smell bad. When they're dead, they smell like fish. We turn off the outside lights at night. We hose off our cars. They're not particularly creepy. They're just kind of annoying.
For now, it's brooms, buckets, and a whole lot of patience.
Free fish flies, bring your own buckets, bring your own truckloads at a time. I'll give you the shovels if you want. You can clean them up on your own first thing in the morning.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
The Governor General recognized the latest recipients of the Order of Canada today in Ottawa. Canadian football icon Michael Pinball Clemens, along with his wife Diane, were honored for their charity work. Basketball superfan Nav Badia was recognized for his foundation supporting low-income communities. And the founder of Orange Shirt Day, Phyllis Webstad, received Canada's highest civilian honor. Finally tonight, a BC community coming together after a mysterious egg was discovered. Adam Sawatsky has more on the team effort behind the hatching efforts and what popped out of the shell.
It was just down this path right here.
Where one of Julie Sitnin's daycare kids found inside this little house, alongside a pair of dolls, a single unhatched egg.
So one of my kids is actually anaphylactic to eggs, so I freaked out a little bit.
Well, it felt unusually heavy for a chicken egg. It was not unusual for Coral Clay to offer help.
Created a little nest for it.
Coral also grabbed a heater to keep it warm, added a stuffy to keep it company, and called a few animal rescue organizations that might keep it safe. But they couldn't help.
We were left with just leaving nature to do its thing, which made us all very sad.
Until Julia texted her friend, who works at this cafe on a farm, and Isaiah Cardelicia agreed to care for the egg overnight before taking it to work the next day.
Pretty bizarre, but I knew Tara would be interested in it.
Tara McMullen, who's Isaiah's boss, who suspected the egg had been abandoned because something was wrong with it.
Told everybody, don't hold your breath for this. This is not gonna happen.
Still, Tara placed it in her incubator and looked after it for weeks before out popped a baby peacock.
It was absolutely perfect. It's just the cutest little thing in the world.
They named him Chickpea, and Tara spent the next few days caring for him round the clock.
Doesn't matter if it's a baby peacock, a baby kitten, a baby dog, or a baby. They're all a lot of work.
Which is why Tara is so grateful a local veterinarian who owns a chicken has agreed to adopt Chickpea, so the hen can raise the peacock as one of her own.
I absolutely know he will have the best life ever.
That's so cute!
While they say it takes a village to raise a child well, when it comes to an abandoned peacock egg, it takes a collective of kind people to raise a chickpea well.
It doesn't matter what it is. Be kind. Spread the love. Everybody wins.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, North Saanich.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.